The Zephyrian cruiser's hull groaned under the relentless barrage of plasma fire. Commander Marcus Kane pressed himself against the twisted metal bulkhead, his breathing ragged as emergency lights cast crimson shadows across the dying ships. Corridors. The war had been raging for 3 years now, and humanity was losing badly. Marcus. The voice cut through the chaos, feminine and urgent. He turned to see Lieutenant Nova approaching through the smoke, her signature black tactical, mask gleaming under the flickering lights. Even in the midst of catastrophe, she moved with that same ethereal grace that had captivated him since the day she'd been assigned to his unit. "The engine core's been hit," she reported, her voice slightly modulated by the mask's vocal processors. "We have maybe 10 minutes before this bucket becomes space debris." Marcus nodded grimly. Nova had been his second in command for 2 years, and in that time, she'd never once removed her mask. Not during meals. She claimed the medical condition required liquid nutrition. Not during sleep. She always retreated to private quarters. Not even during their quiet moments together when the war seemed distant, and he'd catch glimpses of something almost vulnerable in her posture. "The escape pods?" he asked. "Destroyed in the first wave." Her head tilted slightly, a gesture he'd learned meant she was calculating their options. "But there's something else, Marcus. Something I need to tell you before." The ship lurched violently, throwing them both against the wall. When Marcus recovered, he found Nova crumpled beside him, a jagged piece of hull plating protruding from her abdomen. Dark fluid seeped through her tactical suit. "Nova!" He gathered her into his arms, applying pressure to the wound. But even as he worked, he could see it was too late. Whatever sustained her was failing rapidly. "Marcus," she whispered, her gloved hand reaching up to touch his face. "There's something you need to know about humans." "Save your strength. We'll get out of this." She laughed, a sound like crystalline bells breaking. "Humans, you magnificent, impossible creatures." Her breathing grew more labored. "Do you know why we're losing this war? Because the Zephyrians have superior technology and numbers," Marcus replied automatically, the standard military assessment. "No." Nova's grip on his collar tightened. "We're losing because they underestimated what humans are truly capable of. What you're capable of." The ship shuddered again, and Marcus could hear the distant roar of atmosphere venting into space. "They had minutes at most." "I've been watching your species for longer than you know," Nova continued, her voice growing weaker. "Studying you, learning from you, and what I discovered. It changed everything I believed about the universe." "What are you talking about?" "Novas." Free hand moved slowly to the edge of her mask. "Remove my mask, Marcus, please. You'll finally know who I really am." With trembling fingers, Marcus found the release mechanisms he'd wondered about for so long. The mask hissed softly as it disengaged, and what he saw beneath made his breath catch in his throat. Her face was beautiful beyond. Human comprehension angular features that seemed carved from starlight itself, skin that shifted between silver and gold like liquid metal, and eyes that held the depth of nebulae. But it was unmistakably alien. "You single quotes he breath." "Zephyrian," she confirmed. "A deep reconnaissance agent, initially. I was sent to infiltrate human forces and gather intelligence." Her alien features contorted in what might have been a smile. "But you changed me, Marcus. All of you did." Marcus stared down at her, his mind reeling. The woman he'd served with, fought beside, perhaps even loved, was the enemy. "Why?" he managed. "Because humans don't just fight," Nova whispered, her voice now carrying an otherworldly resonance without the mask's modulation. "Every other species in the galaxy, when faced with extinction, they calculate. They measure odds. They surrender. When logic dictates," her luminous eyes fixed on his. "But humans, humans, do something unprecedented. You hope." She coughed, silver fluid speckling her lips. "In the face of impossible odds, you still believe you can win. You sacrifice yourselves. For strangers. You fight harder when you're losing. You find strength in your very fragility. Her voice grew softer. It's the most terrifying and beautiful thing I've ever witnessed. The ship groaned ominously around them, but Marcus couldn't look away from her face. I sent false reports back. To my command, Nova continued, told them humans were primitive, disorganized. I couldn't let them know the truth, that humanity's greatest weapon isn't your technology or your tactics. It's your refusal to accept defeat, even when defeat is the only logical outcome. Nova. My real name is Zarathis Andra, she said. But I chose to be Nova. I chose to stand with humanity. Her breathing grew more shallow. The Zephyrian High Command will eventually discover my deception. When they do, they'll realize what I realized, that this war isn't about territory or resources. It's about whether the galaxy will be ruled by cold logic or by the wild, impossible hope that burns in human hearts. The lights flickered and died, leaving them in near darkness save for the strange luminescence of her alien features. Promise me something, she whispered. Anything. When you survive this, and you will survive, because that's what humans do tell them. Tell your leaders, your soldiers, everyone. Tell them that their greatest strength isn't their weapons or their ships. Her hand found his cheek again. It's their humanity itself. The very thing they think makes them weak. It's what will save them. The ship shuddered one final time, then began its inexorable plunge toward the planet below. But as Marcus held the dying alien who had chosen to become human, he felt something ignite in his chest. Not despair, but defiance. Not acceptance, but hope. Even as the darkness closed in, he was already planning how he would survive, how he would escape, how he would carry Nova's message back to Earth. Because that's what humans do. They find a way.